So whenever working with your clients and doing videos, just hold their head like this. It's called mutual meditation. Let's start this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and on this episode I'm going to be talking about 90s bombshell hair and how to use Velcro rollers. I was recently in Paris for Paris Fashion Week and did a look with Romy that I got a lot of questions about and a lot of people asking for tutorials, so here you go. In today's tutorial we'll be using Oribe Dry Texture Spray and Root Powder. We'll be using the Velcro Rollers by From, which I'm loving lately, as well as their clips, copper vented round brush, and silicone comb. We'll be using the Knot Doctor detangling brush, the Dyson Supersonic as our blow dryer, as well as some other secret products at the end there that I'll mention a little later in the video. We'll start by examining our client's texture and hair type to ensure that they have the right texture and cut to suit the style. I've started with damp hair, and I'm going to use one of my favorite detanglers, which is 7-second detangler by Unite. I've been using the Knot Doctor by Conair for detangling lately, and my clients have been loving it. Now there are a lot of people who prefer a wide tooth comb, and for some textures I use that as well, but I know that I'm going to be brushing through product as well as raking a fine tooth comb through afterward. So I like to detangle and know that all of the knots are out. If you're using the right brush and a great detangler, there should be nearly no friction when starting from the bottom. After examining her hair a little further, we decided she could definitely use a trim. We also discovered that she didn't have the layers or haircut necessary to accomplish the look we were going for, so let's start with the foundation, the right cut. We'll need our scissors, clips, and comb for this one. Let's go ahead and create a center part. Then we'll make a section from the crown just to behind the ear. We'll clip back the hair and repeat on the other side. Then we'll create a mohawk section and elevate parallel to the curve of the head. Direct your fingers downward for how much length you want to preserve in the back. I want to create really heavy layers that make hair feel more like a blanket, which is why I'm cutting these layers before I cut the perimeter. You'll see what I mean. Now when you let those sections down and check them, you'll see a disconnect created by the pattern of the hairline. This is where we want to cut the perimeter, so it'll give the illusion that the hair has more density than it really does. I like to over-direct when I cut here as it directs the hair inward, kind of like the Rachel. Very 90s. And cross-check. That looks like I got lucky there. Here's what the layering on the hairline should look like. And just to double check, you can have your client look straight down, and if it creates a clean, heavy-looking line, you did it right. I'm going to start prepping the hair with product by using a root spray. Here I'm using Raise the Root by Color Wow. I've repackaged it into a tiny bottle because I travel so much I can't travel with the full-size bottles. Really make sure that you saturate the root. Don't be scared to use too much product. Now let's go ahead and brush that through. We really want to make sure we saturate the roots completely. Now I'm going through and spraying Boosta by Unite, one of my favorite volumizing sprays right now. Then I'm going to use a Mason Pearson to just brush everything through and make sure that I saturated every strand. This helps us get uniformity from the style. Here I'm going to be using the Heat Duo Copper Round Brush by From. I like it because it's got this pin in the bottom you can take out, put back in. It really speeds things up and helps with sectioning. Now there are a few ways to start styling. One is with the round brush. This is a little redundant if you're going to use rollers, but it can be necessary when working with coarser textures. It can take longer, but it also does offer a little more polish. I'll explain the other method in a moment. Here's a tip for speeding up the blow dry. I see a lot of young stylists using 1,000 brush strokes to dry one section of hair. It's really not necessary. Take your time, heat the brush up, heat the hair up, and let it cool when you set it at the bottom. And now for the Velcro roller. Today I'm using Velcro Rollers by From, and I'll leave a link in the description. I used to struggle so much keeping all the little baby hairs on the roller, but here's a tip. If you pinch the hair as you roll it, it keeps the hair guided to the center and preventing it from rolling off the edges. Using a round brush was method one, but But because my client has finer hair, I want to leave some moisture in the hair before I use my rollers, and I also want to use some volumizing tricks before my set. So I'm just going to do a rough dry on this one. The first thing I like to do is start with some back combing before I put my rollers in. Once that teasing is in, I like to put a little bit of heat on the hair and some Swept Up by Oribe. Another reason I didn't use the round brush on this style is because I didn't want to apply tension to the hair and risk destroying the natural movement of the hairline. After applying our product, you can see we get some real control out of those roots. The hair just tends to obey. Now that the roots are properly set, we're going to apply our rollers in a mohawk pattern. Take sections about the same width as your roller diameter. In the back, we're going to use some larger rollers because I want a very subtle bend and I don't want it to curl up too tight. More of a model off-duty vibe. Alright, now that you're set, we're going to apply some texture spray. We're also going to apply heat to the rollers to really heat that hair up and get it set. After the hair fully cools, we can start taking our rollers out. Now, if you set it correctly and use the right products, you should get a really nice, malleable hold to the roots. When you move the roots, they should just stay. And voila! There you have it. 90s supermodel hair using Velcro rollers. Make sure to pay close attention to the volume at the hairline, and especially around the ears, as this is really where those 90s vibes come in. Feel free to play around with how much volume you want in certain areas, but remember, on this texture, you can easily take volume out. It's hard to put it back in, so build the right foundation with the right products and techniques before you set the hair, and you won't be disappointed. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, make sure to go give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or video requests, leave a comment. And definitely subscribe because there's a lot more stuff coming soon.